Good morning, students. I welcome you all to the new batch. Okay, I am kept calling this batch as Foundation Batch 2025. Okay, so in this we are going to cover all the subjects. Okay, all the major subjects, including the minor subjects also. Major subjects like economics, polity, history, and art and culture, environment, etc., etc. Apart from that, we will be covering in that included ethics also we will cover. Okay, and apart from that, we will also cover other subjects like science and technology, internal security. Okay, IR, international relations, okay, and disaster management, okay, disaster management. Then we will also cover Indian society, okay, all right. So these are the minor things. Comparatively, these are smaller subjects. Along with these subjects, major subjects also we will cover. Okay, these subjects are economics, okay, uh, polity, science and technology. Sorry, polity, environment, okay, then history and art and culture, okay, uh, these subjects, ethics also we will cover. Okay, so today in this batch, in this session, we are going to start with economics. Okay, I'm thinking of starting with economics and science and technology. Okay, so we will start with these classes. Okay, we will start with these classes. I'm calling this batch as Foundation Batch 2025. Okay, so for this batch, I'm thinking of starting with two subjects. First is economics. We will take one major subject, and the other subject I'm thinking that we will start with science and technology. Okay. So in the morning hours, I will be covering the economics. I will be teaching economics, and in the evening hours, I will teach the science and technology. Okay. जैसे जैसे ये subjects खत्म हो जाएंगे, I will be starting the new subjects. Okay. Maybe after economics, we will start polity. Maybe after science and technology we will see, either we will go with the environment, or we will try and start internal security. Okay, right. So with this brief introduction to the batch, we will go into economic subject. Okay, so in the economics, okay, uh, briefly let me tell you about the importance of economics. Okay, so economics is not only important for mains तो वैसे भी एक पेपर है, complete paper, along with the other minor subjects like internal security, disaster management, and a little bit bigger one, the environment. Just give me 1 second. Actually the subjects have I forgot geography. Okay, okay, geography is also one of the important subjects with respect to examination. So as part of the major subjects, we will also cover geography. Okay, right. We will come back to economics. So वैसे भी mains में important है. There is a complete paper along with some minor subjects. So economics is important. Economics is important. Along with that, if you see in the prelims also, okay, in the prelims, if you see, approximately on an average you will get 15 questions from prelims. Okay, इस साल भी in 2024 exam में there have been approximately 13 to 15 questions from the economics. Okay, previous year also there were on an average 15 questions were there from the economics. We can say in the UPSC examination after polity, the economics is the second most important subject. Okay, so that is a brief introduction about the economics. Okay, right. So in this session, I will give you a brief orientation about the economics. Okay, what are the things that we are going to cover in the economics. Okay, so briefly in this class I will give you an orientation about the economics, and from the next class onwards we will go into the individual chapters. Okay, right. The first area we are going to study in the economics is about the our first chapter we are going to study in the economics is introduction to economics. Okay, introduction to economics. So in this, what we are going to study, right now different countries are following different models of economy, or I would say from the, if we see our brief history, we have seen certain economic models. Okay, so these models are generally known as traditional economy. Okay, traditional economy, in which traditional economy is we can call the economic model as a traditional model. Before the modern period, like in the ancient and medieval period, money circulation was in the initial period, it was completely absent. As we have grown forward as a civilization, money का काफी ज़्यादा मतलब रोल आ गया है. Okay, before that we were depending on the barter system. Okay, so that type of economy in which barter system was there, self sufficiency at the village level or at the regional level, maybe hardly maximum to the kingdoms level. Okay, okay, at the kingdoms level, the societies were self sufficient. Okay, so that type of economy is called as traditional economy. And in the modern period, we are seeing different types of economies. The first, first and foremost one is communist or socialist model of economy. Okay, socialist economy. Then we will, then other system came, that is market economy. Okay, market economy is alternative name for market economy is, we also call it as capitalist type of economy or capitalism. Simply to put it, it is called as capitalism. Right? So give me 1 second. Right. So it is simply known as capitalism. This model, first model which I have mentioned, or first modern model which I have mentioned, communist economy, it is simply known as communism or socialism. Okay, right. Another model is there, mixed model. Okay, where in which the combination or features of both socialist economy and capitalist economy will be there. Okay, that model is known as mixed model. Okay, so briefly we are going to study these models, and after that we will study if you see in the world right now, majority of the countries, if you see in the world now, majority of the countries are following capitalist model. Okay, capitalist model. Even we also, India, earlier when we got the independence, we have emphasized on mixed model. For theoretical purpose, still we say we are following mixed model of economy, but we can say we have also shifted towards this capitalist model. Okay, we have also shifted towards the capitalist model, right? So in this context, we are also going to study whether the capitalism is a right model to follow or not. What are the advantages of the capitalist model and what are the disadvantages of the capitalist model? In detail we are going to study. Okay, right. So we are going to do a critical analysis about the capitalist model. Capitalism as a growth model we are going to study in detail. Right. Right. So these are the things in the initial part we are going to study about the, or we are going to study in the introduction to economy chapter. After that we will study something related to GDP. Okay, GDP how to calculate GDP, what is the importance of GDP, etc., etc. Along with that, the other concepts are also there, like GNP is there, gross national production. Okay, then NDP is there, or we can write here NDP, net domestic production or product. Then we have NNP, okay, net national product or production. Okay, we are also going to see how all these are calculated and what is the slight difference among them or between them. These are the things we are going to see. Okay, then we will see why GDP has become important. Nowadays, all the nations are focusing on or emphasizing in the GDP improvement, increasing the GDP. Okay, increase in the GDP. GDP increase. Okay. Alternatively, we will also call this as growth rate, increasing the growth rate, right? Sub countries, all the countries have, lot and lot focusing on this. Okay. In this context, we are also going to see the, methods how through which the GDP is calculated, whether GDP, if we are focusing on GDP, is that sufficient, and what are the problems in calculating the GDP. That is the area we have to see, and along with, is it correct to only focus on GDP? Okay, GDP is nothing but it is the production or increasing the production of goods and services of a country. Okay, so is it sufficient if we are only focusing on increasing the growth of goods and services? What about the other aspects like health of the people, education of the people, education level of the people, skill level of the people? What is their quality of life? Whether they are able to get proper jobs or not? Okay, and in the process of growth, what are the how we are causing harm to the environment, how environment is being damaged, etc., etc., etc. All these things, they are there, and we have to consider them, okay, in our growth story, in our growth process. Okay, so in this context, we are going to see, or we are going to study how this is not a sufficient measure, how this is not a sufficient measure to actually measure the development of a country, or whether a country is really advancing or not. This is not a proper measure. In this aspect we are going to study. Okay, we are going to study the GDP. Okay, right. Apart from that, there were certain changes for methodology through which we are calculating GDP. Those changes were made in 2015 in the mains. 2000 somewhere in the mains, there was also a question about the change of methodology that was brought in 2015. Okay, so somewhere around, I think, 2017 or 18, there was a question about this on the mains. So what are those changes that were brought in the 2015 in calculating the GDP? That also we are going to see. Okay, so broadly these are the things that we are going to study in the first chapter. The chapter name is Introduction to Economy. Okay, right. So I hope you are getting it. I hope you are understanding it. Okay, right. The next chapter we are going to study is the where we have left in the first chapter. We have closed that chapter with the aspects of GDP and how it is a sufficient measure or not a sufficient measure. So in the second chapter, the chapter is growth, development, and happiness. Okay, growth, development, and happiness. This is the second chapter. So in this chapter, we are going to study, just if you are focusing on the growth rate, is that sufficient? We are going to examine that, and we will say that it is not sufficient. Okay, sufficient. because all the other aspects just now I have listed out, aspects like health of the people, education, skilling, quality of life people that people are living, etc. All these aspects are also have to be given focus. In this context, we have to understand that, or we will study, we just should not focus only on the growth, but we also have to focus on development. Okay, development. Development includes not only growth in the goods and services, production of the goods and services. It includes lot many things. Just like I have mentioned, education, health, skill level, quality of life that people are living, dignity of life, etc. All these things will come. Okay. And nowadays we are talking about inclusive development. Okay, inclusive development. Right. So we are going to study what is the difference between development and what is inclusive development. Okay, what are the differences and why inclusive development should be given importance. Okay, whether GDP, if we are achieving high growth rates through GDP, is that sufficient to achieve development, or to be specific, inclusive development, is it possible to achieve inclusive development if we are only focusing on growth rate? Okay, that area also we are going to examine. And what is actually meant by inclusive development? Inclusive development is nothing but whatever the fruits of development are there, they are reaching all the sections of the society. Okay, all the sections of the society. I mean the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, Adivasi people, the differently abled people, the women. Okay, so all these people are actually generally they tend to be or they are not in a position to get the benefit of the fruits of the growth, or they are unable to reap the benefits of growth. Okay, so we have to make sure that whatever the fruits of the growth are there, okay, they should be reaching all the sections of the people in the society. Okay, then it is called as inclusive growth. Okay, then we are going to study how the inclusive growth can be achieved. Okay, there are certain strategies like nudge theory. There is a theory called nudge theory. Okay, this theory has got Nobel Prize. Okay, then there is another theory given by Amartya Sen. That theory is known as capabilities approach, or that approach is known as capabilities approach. Okay, we are going to study about this approach. Through this approach, how we are going to empower the people so that they are in a position to develop themselves. Okay, that is the emphasis. That is the emphasis on this theory, especially the capabilities approach. The nudge theory also, instead of the nudge theory tells us that instead of compelling the people to take up some measures, or take some measures which are going to help them achieve better education, better health, just you encourage the people through right mechanisms. Okay, like giving incentives, etc., etc. You encourage the people to make right choices so that they can develop, they can grow and develop in the life. Okay, that is what the nudge theory says. And the capabilities approach given by Amartya Sen, it goes further forward, and it says that just you increase the capability of the people, okay, then they will definitely take measures or adopt measures that are going to develop them. Develop means poverty burden is very much high in our country along with other countries like African countries. So how, in order to bring people out of the poverty, we have to take some measures. So Amartya Sen says that you do not you do not push the people for taking certain measures, or compel the people to take measures. Just you give them the capability, or you enhance their capacity. They themselves will come out of poverty. Okay, so these theories are there. We are also going to study that theories or those theories. Okay, right. Apart from that, is it okay if we have achieved the development? Okay, Is it sufficient if we are just achieving development? So what is our what is the ultimate goal of our life? Okay, so we have to see in that angle also. Okay, so the ultimate goal of our life is to be happy. Okay, right? Okay, the ultimate goal in our life is to be happy. Being happy means it should not be like, making other people suffer then getting happiness. That is not the correct way of, being happy or getting happiness. you know it's like, being happy through proper things. Okay, the ultimate goal in our life is to, lead a happy life. Okay, so that area also we have to see. So there is happiness index, global happiness index is also there. Unfortunately, we are falling very behind, or we are ranked very low in the global happiness index. Countries like where the, life is relatively slow, and they are where the people are outside of this daily hurry burry of growth, development, achievements, etc., etc., etc. So that country like Iceland. Okay, Iceland is continuously ranking first or top in the global happiness index. Okay, so in this context, we have to study the Bhutan's. Bhutan is from 1917 onwards. Bhutan is from 1917 onwards. It is measuring the gross national happiness. It is not measuring GDP, okay, but it is measuring GNH, gross national happiness. Okay, it is a very broader, conglomeration of various indexes. Lot many things are, taken into it, including sanitation, access to sanitation, social connections. Okay, social harmony, all these things are given, part or made part of this measurement of gross national happiness. Okay, people were, used to laugh at Bhutan, why it is measuring gross national happiness, is it okay or not, etc., etc. Is it not at all okay? Like that, people used to make fun of Bhutan. But ever since this attack on Twin Towers, okay, somewhere around 2000s, in the early 2000s, the USA Twin Towers, trade towers have been attacked. There a question arises: we are progressing, we are developing, it's okay, but in that process, are we able to, respect each other's cultures, diverse beliefs? Is it possible in our world to live together, respecting, different cultures, different beliefs, different faiths, etc.? That question has arisen. Okay, so in that context, the world has peaked towards, or the, the lifestyle of Bhutan, how Bhutanese are living. They have very, they have no army at all. Okay, and most of their life is still, traditional. You know, it's their life is in harmony with the nature environment. Okay, so people have looked towards Bhutan, and from Bhutan, they have, from since then, the concept of gross national happiness has got lot of significance or importance. Okay, now people are, all are trying to, take up this concept, and they are trying to implement it. Okay, so in this second chapter, we are going to study growth, development, and happiness. So in this chapter, we are in detail going to study how gross national happiness is measured, and whether is it possible to bring that in India, and what is the need for, bringing gross national happiness also into countries, other countries, right? Countries like ours. Okay, that those areas we are going to study, right? Right. These are the things we are going to study in the second chapter, that is growth, development, and happiness. Okay. Then we come to the third chapter, that is third chapter is evolution of Indian economy. Okay. Third chapter we are going to study is right. Third chapter we are going to study is evolution of Indian economy. Okay, evolution of Indian economy. Okay, so in this chapter briefly we are going to study the situation of India or economic situation of India on the eve of independence. Okay, you might be knowing very well, बहुत बुरा हाल में छोड़ दिए थे ब्रिटिशर्स हमको when they gave us independence or when they have fought and achieved our independence. Poverty काफी ज़्यादा था, literacy rate was approximately 16%. Okay, more than 50% of the people were in poverty. Okay, बहुत बुरा हाल था. Per capita income was peanuts. Okay, कुछ भी नहीं था per capita income. Okay, और इंडस्ट्री हैज बीन डिस्ट्रॉयड. जो कॉटेज इंडस्ट्री थे वो सारा डिस्ट्रॉय किया गया है. And in the place of cottage industry, modern industries should have come. Okay, वो भी नहीं आए थे. Okay, so all in all, Britishers have left us in a bad situation. Okay, life expectancy भी बहुत कम था. It was hovering around 35 to 36 years. Okay, so बहुत बुरा हाल था when we got independence. Okay, to address this all these aspects, और साथ साथ क्या हुआ था, Britishers have left our economy in tatters. Okay, our economy has completely converted into a colonial. The aspect of colonialism has come like that. Now India has been made as a colony of British, which is just India has become just a colony. Colony means what? It is just fulfilling the needs of the master economy. Master economy is British economy. Okay, so what was the status of our economy? We were just supplying the raw material, okay, for the Britishers, and whatever the market or factory produced goods were there, they have simply become the market for consuming those factory produced goods. Okay, so in this way, this is the classic case of a colony. When a country is doing like this, that is called as a colony. So we have become a colony of the Britishers. Okay, so thing was there was no economic policy at all or economic plan was at all. Okay, to address that, the new independent India has taken certain measures, or they wanted to have a planned economy that we are going to study in the 5-year plans. Okay, maybe that is fourth chapter or next chapter, fourth chapter. So here in this chapter, evolution of Indian economy, we will study the situation on the eve of independence, situation of Indian economy on the eve of independence. उसके बाद हमने क्या क्या लिया? We have adapted planned economy. Okay, we have given emphasis on public sector enterprises. Okay, and we have openly said that we are going to achieve a socialistic pattern of society. Okay, pattern of society. We have openly said it that our goal from here onwards is to achieve socialistic pattern of society. Okay, and we have given lot of emphasis on public sector enterprises. Okay, and we have adopted a planned economy. In that we have gone for 5-year plans. Okay, right. For achieving all these goals, we have brought in some policies. Okay, industrial policies we have brought in. Okay, right. So in this way we are going to see the evolution of Indian economy. Little bit elaborately, we are here in this chapter we will study the significance of public sector enterprises. Why the public sector enterprises are given lot of emphasis in the initial phase of our economy. The ideology of Nehru that has the brain behind giving lot of emphasis for public sector enterprises. We will try and understand why Nehru was very much adamant about establishing big public sector enterprises. Okay, so these things we are going to study in the evolution of Indian economy. उसके बाद क्या changes है, how our economy has transformed. Okay, is the transformation was satisfactory or not? All these things we are going to study. Okay, right. So after this evolution of Indian economy, The next chapter, fourth chapter we are going to study is the planning in India. Okay, very important chapter. The thing we are going to study is planning in India. Okay. Right. So here, brief background we will study why the planned economy, the requirement of a planned economy, and why we have taken 5-year plans. We have taken 5-year plans because of the inspiration or influence that we had from Russia or former USSR. Okay, Nehru was very much impressed by the growth that former USSR has achieved. So to that kind of growth, Nehru also wanted to replicate in our country. He was a very big fan of the achievements of former USSR. So with that spirit, we have brought in the 5-year plans. Okay. So what is the need? What was the need for 5-year plans? That also we will study. Then we will study the planning commission. Okay, its approach. Okay, all these things we will study, and we will also study the need for a planned economy. Then 12 there are 12 5-year plans. Okay, since 1950s we had 12 5-year plans till 2017. They have lost it. Okay, 12 5-year plans. Briefly we will study their performance. We will study how the 5-year plans were performed, how many of them were successful, how many of them were a failure, and what are the important programs or schemes that have been started as part and parcel of the each and every 5-year plan that we will study. Okay. After that, we will study the Niti Aayog. Okay. The NDA, once the NDA government has come into power in 2014, they have decided to discontinue the with the planning commission and the 5-year plans because there were there were concerns about the functioning of the planning commission. Okay, there were concerns about the functioning of the planning commission. Okay, why people were criticizing planning commission that though it is a extra constitutional body or extra legal body because there is no legal backing for the forget about the constitutional backing, not even legal backing is there. So but as the time moved forward, it became very powerful. Planning commission has become very much powerful, and it was literally dictating terms for the state governments. Okay, so people criticized that it became a undemocratic body. Okay, people criticized it that saying that it became a undemocratic body, and the goals we will see there were some stated goals from the for the planning commission or goals of the 5-year plans also they can be said, that is become self-sufficient. The goals goes like this. Okay, becoming self-sufficient. Okay, sufficient, then addressing poverty. Okay, addressing poverty, like this, modernization, achieving modernization. Okay, then achieving social justice. Okay, these are the stated goals of the 5-year plans. 5-year plans goals means indirectly they are the goals of the planning commission also. Okay, but unfortunately we could not achieve these goals also. Along with that, other criticisms are also there with respect to planning commission. Okay, so that's why we have the government, the newly elected government, uh, in 2014 that decided to abolish the planning commission, and in the place of planning commission we have brought in the Niti Aayog. Okay, we have brought in the Niti Aayog. Okay, so briefly we are going to study excuse me, yes, I caught cold, so my nose is causing a lot of trouble. Please put up with me. Right. Right. So we will briefly study the structure, okay, structure and functioning of the planning commission. Okay, we will briefly study the structure and the functioning of the planning commission. Okay, then along with the planning commission, we have also abandoned the 5-year plans. So Niti Aayog will no longer make the 5-year plans, but instead of that, it has adopted a different methodology. That is, a 7 years strategy will be there. Okay, 7-year strategy is there. Okay, and the 3 years action plan is there to implement those strategies. Okay, action plans. Okay, so the Niti Aayog has released a strategy paper somewhere around 2017-18. So we have to study in detail about that strategy paper. There are in this strategies paper there are 44 items or areas have been discussed. They have been categorized into 4 separate categories. Okay, so all in all there are 44 areas that have been discussed in this 7-year strategy paper. And to implement those strategies, action plans, 3-year action plans will be there. So there are plenty of papers, 3-year action plans are there with respect to different areas, like for health, for education, for artificial intelligence, all these things. Periodically the Niti Aayog is releasing lot of action papers, sorry, action plans. So important action plans, few action plans, if time permits, we will also study it. Okay, right. Apart from this, briefly we will see a comparative analysis between the working style of Niti Aayog and also what was the working style of Planning Commission. That thing we will see because there was also a question on the comparison about the Planning Commission and the Niti Aayog. Okay, so that's why we will also see briefly the functioning styles of both the organizations, right? So these are the things we are going to start in the or study in the 4th chapter. Okay, that is planning in India. Okay, right. So after this, we will come to the sectors of the economy. Okay, so after this, we will study the sectors of the economy. You know very well there are 3 sectors. Okay, okay, sectors of the economy. Okay, we will study them. In that, first and foremost, we have to study agriculture. Okay, then we will study industry. Okay, and then in the last we will study briefly the service sector. Okay, so these are the areas we have to study. Okay, so within the agriculture we have to before starting the agriculture, modern day, present status of the agriculture in our country, briefly we have to study 2 areas, 2 important areas within the agriculture. Those are the land reforms. First one is very important, land reforms. This we have to study. Okay, I hope you might have heard about the land reforms previously. Majorly, there are 3 runs of land reforms are there. All this have happened between 1950s and 1970s. Okay, 3 runs of land reforms are there. That is, first land reforms pertaining to abolition of the middlemen, like abolition of the jamindaris. Okay, that is the first land reform. Second one pertaining to the tenancy reforms. Okay, tenancy, second rung of land reforms pertaining to tenancy reforms. Lot of tenant farmers were there, and the first reform which we have targeted, that is abolition of middlemen or the abolition of the jamindaris, that was not successful, completely not successful, because of the provisions of the constitution and emphasis that was given for individual property. Okay, so in the initial stage we have faced a lot of problems for implementing the land reforms. the courts were also, the judiciary was also not that much cooperative. It was, all the decisions were favoring the zamindars or landlords. So tenancy was still prevailing. Okay, the ownership was not conferred on the original tenants. So to address that issue, to address the problems of the tenancies, tenant farmers, we have brought in the tenant reforms. Okay, or tenancy reforms. So they constitute the second rung of land reforms. Okay. Then the third reforms we have brought in, third rung of land reforms, that is something related to sealing. Okay, the first abolition of middlemen, that was partially successful. Still, as we have wanted that land should be given to the actual tiller, original tiller. Okay, so the idea is that land has to be taken away from the zamindars or big landowners, and it has to be distributed to the landless poor or landless people. Okay, but unfortunately we could not get sufficient land to distribute among the landless people. So to address that, we have we have brought in the third rung of land reforms, that is Land Sealing Act, so that further we can find out extra land or surplus land, so that that land can be distributed among the landless poor. Okay, so to achieve that, we have brought in the third rung of land reforms. Those are land sealing. Okay, so these areas we are also we are going to study, and apart from that, other new generation land reforms are there. Okay, those are consolidation of land holdings. You know very well, in our country, fragmentation of land holdings is a very big problem. So to address that problem, we have focused on consolidation of land holdings. That is the, we can say it is the modern day land reform. Apart from that, digitization or computerization of land records, this is also another reform we have taken up. And modern way of agriculture, that is contract farming. We are doing efforts to achieve this one also, contract farming. So this is also another important area we are going to say. Okay, so these reforms, we can say these are modern day land reforms and these are traditional land reforms. Okay, so about the modern day land reforms and traditional land reforms, we are going to study in detail. Okay, so these are the aspects we have to study in land reforms. This is an important area because previously, even the last year exam, 2023 exam also, there was a question on the land reforms. Okay, so these things we have to study, right? Then second important aspect we have to study is the green revolution. Okay, green revolution, very important area. Till now there was no major question, or there is no major question, but I am expecting a question on green revolution also, because we have to study these areas like green revolution, land reforms, because they were big initiatives in the past, and we should know the experience of these big reforms. Okay, so that in the future we will be well informed if at all we are taking any future reforms. Okay, so green revolution, if we see like that, a very good success story. Green revolution is a very good success story, though there are certain problems, there are negative consequences are there with respect to green revolution, but one of our major concern, that is food shortage. Food shortage during 1960s and 1970s. This was our major concern. India famines. Before that, famines in India were a common occurrence. Lakhs of people used to die. Even during the British period also, even after the British period also, we have seen certain famines, and lakhs of people used to perish in those famines. It is because of the food shortage. So our major problem, food shortage, we could address that because of the green revolution only. So this type of success stories we should know. They help us a lot in our future endeavors. Okay, so we are going to study about the green revolution. In that, some aspects are there, like what is the meaning of green revolution, what are the important components in green revolution? The important components were using of, instead of normal seeds, we used hybrid varieties. They are also known as high yielding varieties. Okay, they are also known as high yielding varieties, hybrid varieties, and emphasis was there on irrigation. Okay, providing, earlier we used to depend on the rainfall to grow the crops. So here we try to provide assured irrigation through canals, through borewells, etc., etc. Right. Apart from that, there was also emphasis on fertilizers. Okay, there was also emphasis on fertilizers and use of pesticides. Okay, and to make the farmers to get all these things, we have provided them credit also. Okay, we have provided them credit also, subsidized credit. Okay, so all these things are there in the green revolution. So after this, we will study the success of the green revolution. No, success was majorly there on two crops, or success is there in majorly two crops. That is, first one is wheat and the second one is rice. Okay, so within the decades, within a decade, the total food grain production has more than doubled in our country. So that was possible. That was possible because of the great success of the green revolution only. Okay, so this is the majorly, this is the first success. With this success, what we could achieve, we have addressed the problem of food shortage in our country, right? However, there are certain challenges, okay, with respect to green revolution. What are the challenges? Challenges is there is lot of harm or damage to the soil, natural soil, and ecology wise also the practices that we have adopted in the green revolution, they are not sustainable. Okay, uh, it led to adverse consequences. Those areas we will see. Apart from that, it led to other some social problems also. Okay, social aspects like regional imbalance, regional disparities are there. So the areas in which or where the green revolution was a success, those areas became richer, and where the green revolution could not go, those areas remain, or people in those regions still remain poor. Okay, that is there. And green revolution selected few varieties of seeds within the rice and wheat also. They have selected few varieties, and we are cultivating extensively almost all the regions of the country. Okay, so because of that, the varieties, different varieties that were there in these food crops, or for that matter in our agriculture, they are they have died, or they are slowly dying. Okay, so that there are problems, there are challenges with respect to diversity also, and of course challenges are there when we are using the fertilizers and pesticides. Okay, all these challenges we will study in the green revolution. Okay, so these two areas, the land reforms and the green revolution, we have to study as part of the agriculture. After that, we will come to the actual agriculture sector. Okay, so in actual agriculture sector, we will study the present status of our agriculture. Okay, present status, what is the production of food grains, what is the pulses within the food grains, pulses, cereals, oil seeds, production of cotton, jute, etc., sugar cane. So all these areas, all these aspects we are going to study. Then once we briefly survey the agriculture sector, we come to the major aspects in our agriculture sector. Okay, major aspects. Okay, what are the major aspects? The major aspects are the MSP, minimum support price. This is one aspect. Then the inputs, will come to inputs. In inputs, the problems of seeds, the problems of fertilizers. Okay, problems means we will also see the scenario, present status of fertilizer sector, the challenges in the fertilizer sector, and the government initiatives to address the fertilizer sector. What further measures we have to take to address the fertilizer sector. Okay, these areas, all the areas we are going to study in detail. Okay, so if you see in the mains, majority of the questions are focused in on and around the agriculture sector only. Plenty of questions are there. So because of that reason, we have to study these areas very elaborately. Okay, so each and every segment we are going to study in detail. Okay, then we will study the challenges of irrigation. Okay, okay. Seeds we have seen, fertilizer we have seen, irrigation we have seen. Then we will study about the aspect of MSP, minimum support price. Is it proper to give MSP? How many crops, for how many crops there is MSP? How MSP will be decided? All these areas we are going to study. Okay. Then another important area in the agriculture sector is that is marketing. Okay. Marketing is also a very big problem. Is it visible? I think it is not visible. I will write here. Okay. So marketing is also a very big concern for the agriculture sector. Unfortunately, even after 75 years of independence, we could not develop a reliable agriculture marketing system for our farmers. So that is a problem. Okay. So in that, other measures also, like establishment of ENAM or the challenges associated with the present markets. Okay, APMC Mondays, whatever the market facility is present, they are there. They are known as APMCs. Okay, Agriculture Production Marketing Committees. Okay, we will study about the challenges about these committees, why they are unable to provide proper facilities for the farmers, or what are the challenges with respect to these mandis, etc. We will study. Okay. Then we will see another sector, the post-harvest challenges. I mean, the marketing will also come under post-harvest challenges only. Okay. Post-harvest challenges are like transportation, storage. Okay. These are also very big problems. Okay. Transportation. Okay. Then storage. Okay. Then processing and value addition. All these areas we are going to study in detail. Each and every aspect we are going to study. Okay. Very interesting area, and lot of focus is there. All examiners are focusing in these areas, so we will study about these areas in detail. Okay. Another important area we have to study is insurance. Okay. Agricultural insurance. Unfortunately, we were unable to, or we are unable to develop a sustainable insurance or sustainable insurance programs or insurance schemes for our agriculture sake. This is a lacking now. Okay, right. So these are the areas we are going to study in agriculture. We are going to study elaborately about the agriculture sector. Okay, right. So once we completed, we have studied agriculture. Another important component within the agriculture, okay, the allied activities. Okay, allied sector we are going to study. Okay, so allied sector segments are there. Like first one is animal husbandry. Okay, animal husbandry. Okay, animal husbandry means cattle, sheep, goats, all these things, even pigs, the poultry, okay, beekeeping, etc., etc. All these things we are going to, even the fisheries, or we can study separately. Fisheries sector we can study separately. Okay, so about animal husbandry, okay, we are going to study in detail what are the prospects of animal husbandry, what are the challenges, okay, how these challenges can be addressed. Okay, here itself we are going to in detail study within the animal husbandry the dairy sector. Dairy sector we are going to study in detail. Okay, here itself within the dairy sector we will study the program of white revolution. Okay, that is Operation Flood or milk revolution, generally we call it as white revolution. So that aspect we are going to study within the animal husbandry. Okay, then we are also going to study what are the opportunities and challenges in the dairy sector. Okay, then we will study fisheries. Okay, what are the opportunities in the fisheries sector, what are the challenges along with the present status of fisheries sector. Then we will come to the horticulture sector. Okay, here also we will see the opportunities that are there in horticulture sector, how horticulture sector has actually outgrown the cereal production or traditional food production. Okay, so within the quantity, value wise also and quantity wise also, the horticulture sector has taken over or crossed the traditional cereals production. Horticulture means the production of fruits, vegetables and flowers. Okay, so here within this one, floriculture is also there, right? So all these areas we are going to study. Okay, so apart from that, we are going to study the food processing. Okay, very important, especially processing of horticulture products and dairy products. It is an important area. So we are going to study in detail about the food processing also. We are unfortunately we are very much backward in the food processing sector also. Global average is around 50%. Okay, 50% of the agriculture production, if you see the entire world, that is being processed. But unfortunately in our country, the unofficial or private estimates say that only 2% of our production is being processed. Rest of it is just we are selling like that in the raw form. Okay, so this is a here also in the food processing segment also there are a lot of opportunities are there, that we are going to study in detail. Okay, so these are the aspects that we are going to study in the agriculture sector and allied activities. Very important area and very important from the point of view of examination also. Lot of questions are going to be asked from this area. Okay, right. So these are the aspects that we will study in the first sector of our economy, that is agriculture sector. Then we will come to the industry. So in industry we will study two aspects, that is industry, okay, and infrastructure. Okay, industry and infrastructure. Okay, right. So in the industry, what we will study? First we will study the policies, the industrial policies, various industrial policies. Okay, industrial policies were there from 1990, 1955. That was a major policy. Then somewhere in 1970s there is another major policy. Then 1991 economic reforms are there. In 1980s also, 1982 something like that, we have another major policy changes were there. Okay, so all these areas along with these policies we are going to study the important acts like MRTP Act. Okay, then FERA Act. Okay, FERA and FEMA. Okay, what is the what is the problem with these acts? FERA. So FERA was before. We have removed FERA and we have brought in FEMA. Okay, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act was there before. We have replaced that with Foreign Exchange Management Act. MRTP Act was there. Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices Act. So in this place we have eliminated this and we have brought in CCI, Competition Commission of India Act, or we have established instead of in the place of MRTP Act we have brought in Competition Act. Okay, to oversee competition we have established Competition Commission of India. Okay, these aspects also we have to study. Okay, so each and every policy we are going to see what are the important provisions in these or important points in these policies, and how far they were justifiable, whether they served the purpose or they did not serve the purpose. Those areas we are going to study. Okay, then we are going to study the new economic policy, that is 1991 economic policy, that is also known as LPG reforms. Okay, liberalization, privatization and globalization. So in detail we are going to study about the LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization and globalization reforms. What is its impact on India? Okay, what are the positive impacts and what are the negative impacts? These areas we are going to study in detail. Okay, overall impact of the 1991 reforms we are going to study. Okay, right. So after that, in the industry we are going to study the aspect of manufacturing. Okay, the aspect of manufacturing. Okay, manufacturing we are going to study. So what is the importance of manufacturing for a country, and how and why India could not achieve a breakthrough in the manufacturing. Okay, manufacturing, the growth in the manufacturing sector is very important for any country to move forward. It is generally manufacturing sector, I would call it as the breakthrough in the manufacturing is nothing but achieving industrial revolution. Okay, industrial revolution. Okay, so any country if you see in the world, including China recently, 2 to 3 decades back, there was a breakthrough in its manufacturing segment. Okay, so after that there is huge change. It could reduce poverty a lot, and it is in the path of achieving the status of a developed country. Okay, but unfortunately there was no breakthrough in our country with respect to the manufacturing sector, which means there is no industrial revolution in our country. We can say we have directly jumped from agriculture to service sector. There is no proper transition. Proper transition takes place like this: agriculture, first there will be a revolution in agriculture. Okay, after that there will be a revolution in the industrial sector, then the revolution in the service sector will come. Okay, there is a revolution in the agriculture sector in the form of green revolution, and now the majority of GDP contribution in our country, that is coming from the service sector. Okay, but unfortunately the similar boom was not there in the manufacturing sector. Okay, that is a area of concern. We are not sure how we are also going to achieve a breakthrough in the industrial sector. Okay, especially in the manufacturing sector, they should have been a way. So we will in detail we are going to understand what are the problems with the manufacturing sector, why there was no boom, and what were the measures we have taken to achieve some success in the manufacturing sector. Okay, so plenty of measures we have taken. Okay, recent measures are Make in India was a measure. Okay, then PLI scheme also we have brought in, production linked incentive scheme, that was also a measure. Before that we have brought in SEZs, okay, special economic zones. Apart from that, recently we have brought in NIMZ, okay, National Investment and Manufacturing Zones. These are nothing but industrial townships. Okay, so all these measures we have taken to propel the manufacturing sector. Unfortunately, the manufacturing sector is stagnated at 16 to 17% of the GDP. The manufacturing sector is contributing to only 16 to 17% of the GDP. We have to at least take it to 25% of the GDP. Okay, but unfortunately we are unable to do that. Okay, so all these aspects we are going to study. Okay, so after studying this the manufacturing sector, briefly we will study about the public sector enterprises. Okay, public sector enterprises or public sector undertakings, which are big enterprises that we are going to study. Okay, in this we will briefly study the features of public sector enterprises and what are the problems with the public sector enterprises. Okay, the sickness in the public sector enterprises also we are going to study, and how the sickness in the PSUs, what are the measures taken by the government for addressing the sickness in the industry. That thing we are going to study. Okay, there are several measures have been taken by the government, including disinvestment. Okay, disinvestment also one measure that has been taken by the government to address the challenges or problems in the public sector enterprises. Okay, right. So after that we are going to study, right? After that we are going to study the MSMEs. Okay, MSMEs we are going to study. Okay, micro, small and medium enterprises, they are very important for a country like ours, and they are playing very important role also. Okay, we will see how much they are contributing for with respect to employment, with respect to exports, with respect to GDP. All these things we are going to study. Okay, so we will see the status of MSME in our country. Okay, then we will see the challenges or problems we are facing. and what are the measures taken by the government to address these challenges. Then in the end we are going to study what are the further measures that we have to take. What are the further measures we have to take to address the challenges of MSME sector? Okay, so these areas we have to study. Okay, after studying the MSMEs, we are going to study the infrastructure. Okay, infrastructure we are going to study. Okay, infrastructure means the infrastructure like for infrastructure for connectivity like roads, railways, aviation, shipping industry, right? And these are then energy. Okay, energy also we are going to see, including traditional energy and renewable energy or new age energy that we are going to study. And in that energy, within energy we are going to study fuels like crude oil, natural gas. Then power sector also we are going to study. So within the infrastructure, the roads we are going to study, the roads, railways, the problems of the road sector, the problems of the railway sector, the problems of the ports, port sector, all these aspects, even the challenges in the aviation sector, all these segments we are going to study. Apart from that, we have to study the telecommunication also. Okay, telecommunication. So this area also we are going to study the problem, especially the problem in our telecom sector. Okay, so these aspects we are going to study in the infrastructure. Infrastructure is very, very important, and the measures taken by the government to address the challenges in the infrastructure sector, like best example is the National Infrastructure Pipeline (NIP). The government has started, that is one measure. We are going to study that one, NIP, and the second one is the PM Gati Shakti Master Plan. Okay, PM Gati Shakti Master Plan. Okay, then other programs are there like Bharat Mala Pariyojana, okay, Sagar Mala. Then like that, many schemes are there, many initiatives are there. We will study all those initiatives to improve the infrastructure sector. Okay, so industry and infrastructure we are going to study together. Okay, so when we study these things, the second segment in our sectors of economy will be completed, that is agriculture and industry. Okay, then the third one is remaining, that is the service sector. Okay, service sector. So within the service sector, we are going to study individual aspects like performance of the service sector, what is the status of the service sector, in which areas we are performing better, in which areas we are not performing better. That areas we will see. Some of the areas we are performing better are the IT industry, IT and ITES, and pharma industry we are performing better. Gems and jewelry, okay, gems and jewelry also we are performing better. Okay, apart from that, the crude oil products, we are importing crude oil and we are exporting crude oil products after refining. So in that area also we are performing better. So we will see these areas within the service sector, which areas we are performing better and in which areas we are not doing that well. Okay, briefly we can also see about the financial sector and the insurance sector. Okay. Right, so these are the areas we focus in the service sector. Apart from that, briefly we will see the status, how much service sector is contributing for the economy, where are the challenges, and where potential is there. Potential is there in segments like tourism. Okay, tourism and hospitality segment, there is opportunities for us. Okay, so we will try and focus on these areas. Okay, along with that service sector, we also have to study the investment. Okay, investment we have to study. There are investment models. Particularly the investment models has been mentioned in the syllabus, in our syllabus. So we have to study the investment models. Okay, briefly we are also going to study about the foreign direct investment. Foreign investment, in that foreign direct investment and foreign indirect investment also we are going, or foreign portfolio investment also we are going to study, and along with that we are going to study within the foreign direct investment, uh, you know uh, in which of the segments or which of the sectors of our economy which are attracting more foreign direct investment. Okay, that area also we have to see. Along with that we will also see the aspect of PPP. Okay, public private partnership, how it is benefiting, or we can bring in this public private partnership into the infrastructure itself, because PPP is playing an important role in the development of infrastructure. So we will see this PPP, public private partnership, here itself. Okay, within the infrastructure, we will discuss the PPP. Okay, and various types of PPP we will study. Here we will study about the SEZs. Okay, special economic zones. Okay, because they are thought as one of the important outcome of the investment, encouraging investment. So those SEZs, all the aspects related to SEZs we will study. Successes and failures of SEZs we will study. Okay, so in this way briefly we are going to cover the investment part also, right? Okay, right. So if time permits, here itself we will study briefly the external sector, or we can study the external sector along with the budget also. We are going to study external sector. We will see briefly the performance of our imports and exports, how we are performing with respect to our imports and exports. So you know very well, with respect to trade, international trade, we are on the negative side. We are importing a lot more than what we are exporting. So our trade balance is not good. Okay, we have faced a severe crisis previously. With respect to current account deficit, balance of trade also we are facing problem. All those problems are to a certain extent are addressed by or solved by the remittances that are coming from that are sent by the Indians for us. Okay, so that those areas also we try to understand. Okay, right. So these are, after this we will be completing the sectors of the economy, important areas in that we will be covering along with the external sector. Okay, right. Right. So after this we will study. After that uh, we will study the we will come to this area, that is money and banking. Okay, money and banking we will study. So briefly we will study about the aspects of money, evolution of money, what is its role, etc., etc. we will study. Okay, so then we have to study about the banking sector. Okay, so the structure of banking sector in our country. Okay, then the RBI, functions of the RBI, then its monetary policy. Okay, we will study components that are there in the monetary policy. Then we will study about the banks in our country, scheduled commercial banks, cooperative banks, all the banks. Then differential financial institutions also we will study along with the NBFCs. Okay, non-banking financial companies. Okay, non-banking financial companies we are going to study. Okay, right. Right. So after that, what we will do? The certain new age banks are there, like small banks, and payment banks. These areas we will study. Then the development, the latest developments in the financial or in the banking arena, like UPI. Okay, then National Payments Corporation of India. These developments, latest developments, we will see along with the financial inclusion. Okay, important area we have to study is financial inclusion. This is an important aspect. So what is meant by financial inclusion? Okay, what are the measures taken by the government to achieve financial inclusion? Okay, how far we have achieved financial inclusion? What further measures we have to take to achieve financial inclusion? We have to see. Okay, Right. So in the money and banking, these are the areas we are going to study. Okay. After that, briefly we will study the inflation. Okay. After that, we are going to briefly study the inflation. Okay. Inflation we are going to study. In this, we will study the inflation. Okay. Types of inflation briefly we will study. Then trends in our inflation. Trends of inflation in our country, or what are the parameters or measures of inflation. Okay, what are the parameters, like consumer price index is there, wholesale price index is there. Okay, right. Then suggestion is that we have to take up the producers producers price index. RBI has recommended that we have to consider producers price index, like that. So we will see about all these aspects, importance of inflation for a country. Okay, all these areas we will study. Okay, after that we will come to the another important area, that is fiscal policy of the government. Okay, fiscal policy, here we will study what is the meaning of fiscal policy. In the money and banking we have studied monetary policy, right? So like that, similarly we are going to study the fiscal policy of the government. So here we will study what is the meaning of fiscal policy, components of fiscal policy, and objectives of fiscal policy. Why the government? Fiscal policy means, you understand, right? Fiscal policy means, you understand, right? It is the policy by the government. Okay, monetary policy is the responsibility of the Reserve Bank of India. It is concerned, monetary policy is concerned with the supply of money in the market. Okay, fiscal policy is much more than that. It is concerned with growth rate, job creation. Okay, production of goods and services, exports, all the things are covered in fiscal policy. Okay, objectives we will see. Then the budgeting, government budgeting. Okay, budgeting, the components of budget, what are the components of the budget, etc., we will see. Then the in detail we will study about the latest budget, what are the important aspects that are in the present budget. Okay, those areas we are going to study, right? Okay, so after that, after budgeting, briefly within the budget we will also study the aspect of taxation. Okay, different, broadly two types of taxes are there, direct taxes and indirect taxes. So about the taxes we will study, and taxation policy in the latest budget also we will study. Okay, right. So after that, briefly we will study about the financial markets, or primary market or secondary market, primary and secondary market. Okay, that is also alternatively we can call it as the money market and capital market also we will see. In that we will see share markets, stock exchanges, the government bonds, how the government operates with its bonds, etc. So all these areas we will see, and important stock exchanges also we will study in this markets. Okay, after that another important area. So one, along with these, when we study money and banking, inflation, fiscal policy, and money and market capital, money market and capital market, we will be completing, majority of the portion of that. Few important areas will be remaining. In that, one major important area is poverty and unemployment. Okay, poverty and unemployment, this is an important area. So here we will study the estimates. First of all, we will study the estimates. Since independence, how poverty has been calculated or estimated in our country. What are the committees that were there? At present, the estimates of Suresh Tendulkar committee we are following. Okay, after that Rangarajan committee also gave its calculations about poverty, but we are not considering that. We are considering the estimates of Suresh Tendulkar committee only. Before that, Lakdawala committee was there, empowered, some other committees were there. We will study in detail when we study poverty. All these areas we will study. So first we will study the estimates of poverty, then we will study the burden of poverty in our country. Okay, then we will study the reasons. We will try and understand the reasons for poverty in our country. Then we will study the measures taken by the government. to address poverty in the country. You know very well the measures are not sufficient. We have to approach poverty in a different type, or further comprehensive measures have to be taken. So those comprehensive measures we have to study. Okay. After that we will study unemployment. Okay, employment and unemployment we will study. Here briefly we will understand types of unemployment and unemployment rates, different unemployment rates. Okay. Current weekly status, current daily status. Okay, like that different rates are there. Okay, and we will see unemployment rates, estimates of unemployment. Then we will also understand the reasons. Okay, reasons for unemployment. Then the another aspect is measures taken for addressing unemployment. This area also we will understand. Then we will see what further measures we have to take to address the aspect of unemployment. Okay. These areas broadly we are going to study in the poverty and unemployment, very important area. Okay. After that, this is an important chapter, poverty and unemployment. After that, another very important area is there, that is human resource development. Okay, HRD. Okay, human resource development. Okay. So this is one aspect we are going to study, human resource development. So here we will study the status of status of education in our country, status of health in our country, okay, status of nutrition in our country, okay, and this status of skilling in our country. So all these individual areas we are going to study. Within the health we will study different areas like child health, okay, mother's health, okay. All these areas we are going to study in this area, okay. Here in this skilling becomes a very important area. We will study in detail about how to address the aspect of skilling in our country. Okay, this is connected with the aspect of demographic dividend. Okay, demographic dividend. So this area also we are going to study in detail about the demographic dividend, and to achieve or to reap the benefit of demography, what are the measures we have to take. In that, especially important area is skilling of the people. Okay, so in these arenas where all the aspects including the important schemes we are going to study in detail. Okay, right. So after that, last area is there after human resource development. That area is climate change. Okay, climate change. Though you will be covering climate change elaborately in the environment, here we have to study climate change with in relation to the development. Okay, development, with respect to development we have to study climate change. Okay, so how climate change is going to impact our development, how poor people, especially poor, are going to be impacted because of the climate change. What are the measures we have to take or address climate change. In that efforts we will study what are the measures we have taken to address the climate change. We have already taken the promise of achieving net zero emissions by 2070. Okay, that area is there. We are taking plenty of initiatives, especially we are investing a lot in renewable energy. Okay, renewable energy we are investing, especially in solar and wind energy we are investing. We have plenty of hopes on solar energy. Okay, we have started National Solar ISC, International Solar Alliance also. So we are investing a lot in wind energy and especially on solar energy. Okay, this year's recent budget also, there is something related to solar energy. Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister or Honorable Finance Minister has announced a new scheme within the budget. So we have plenty of hopes in the renewable energy segment. So in that area also we have to elaborately study this energy transition. Okay, we have to elaborately study this energy transition. Energy transition means moving forward or moving away from the fossil fuels to renewable energy sources. Okay, So that energy transition we have to study in detail, because plenty of questions have come, 4 to 5 questions have come from that area also. Okay, so we are going to study in detail about these areas. Okay, energy transition, climate change, and energy transition is an important area. So these areas we are going to study. Okay, so with this, if we cover all these chapters, we will be covering the economics comprehensively. There is very less chance that the questions that are being asked from the in the mains will be I would say that you will be covering comfortably, or you can answer all the questions that will be asked from the mains examination. Okay, so I have developed this syllabus based on the keeping in mind based on the previous 10 years questions. Okay, mains questions. So all the areas we are covering comfortably, no problem in that. Okay, so with the perspective of prelims also, most of the areas are covered, but from your side you have to do some work to to answer the questions of prelims. Okay, because some areas will be missing. Up to approximately 75% to 80% of the prelims area also we will be covering, but you know very well that most of the things in the prelims, they are related with the current aspects. So some effort you have to put in from your side to study the current affairs, because in prelims questions are coming that are related with the current affairs. So that area you have to cover a little bit. Otherwise, from the mains point of view, if we cover these aspects, we will be comfortably covering the questions that are going to be asked in the mains exam. Okay, so I hope you have gathered some knowledge through this orientation class. Okay, in the next class we will start the first chapter, that is introduction to economics. Okay, so see you in the next class. Until then, have a good time. Right. See you guys.